Well guys, welcome back to the nest. Let me just close my door 1 second. Yep, there we go. Welcome back to the nest. Hope you're all keeping well. It's absolutely freezing in my house. Our boiler's messed up at the minute, so it is. Hope you're all keeping well. You know, it's March finally. Welcome back to the channel, and tonight we are beginning the next year, 1972. Yes, I did hear that that was the longest year ever, just because there was an extra day or something. Maybe it was a leap year. I wonder how people's birthdays are celebrated on that. Comment with you how you think people celebrate their birthdays. You know, maybe they do it like on the 28th of February. We'll never know. Yeah, actually I think that's what it is, because you can't just miss out on a birthday. And also, 1972 was the year that video games were released. So last year it was the 50th anniversary since the first ever video game was created. Don't forget, very very soon gaming's going to be starting on this channel. Hopefully that's whenever things change for the nest. But for now we're sticking with these kind of movie reactions. Tonight's movie reaction is actually a disaster movie. Aster. Yeah, it's a disaster movie. It is the Poseidon Adventure. For those of you who don't know what it's about the SS Poseidon. It's on a voyage on New Year's Eve. There's a handful of people there's so many people on a cruise. It's on New Year's Eve, but this massive tsunami, like, capsizes the ship. So it turns it upside down. Like, the top of it is brought underwater, and people are just scared for their lives. They're panicking. They're gonna get drowned to death. You know, if water smashes it. Just imagine a tsunami that's so strong it actually tips over a massive boat. Now, I'd love to go on a cruise, but I'm just worried in case something like that happens. You'd have to get a really massive tsunami, because like the captain says, I've never seen anything like this before. Like a huge wall. The purser decides to stay in the bows of the ship and just wait until someone comes for help. But then again, who's going to come for help? The captain is dead. And I will say, I was horrified to see throughout this movie, like, whenever they were trying to escape the boat, you know, they were just dead bodies everywhere. But yeah, I guess that's what happens during these kind of tragedies. Yes, I was going to say incident, but this is more than incident. This is a big disaster, a tragedy. But there are a handful of people who decide to. I did say at the beginning of the movie that only a handful of people managed to survive, and this is their story. I think this is a movie where I'm thinking, who's going to die and who's going to survive through this mess? This priest, Reverend Scott, who's played by Gene Hackman. If you remember Gene Hackman, he was the guy who played Jimmy Popeye Doyle in The French Connection that was released in the previous year we did in 1971. Oh, I really enjoyed that movie, and here he was just as great. And I like how he was. I hear he's also a priest who doesn't abide by the rules. Like, you know, I do. Like, he was like that in The French Connection. You know, he didn't abide by the rules. This he doesn't. That's why he's being sent to a parish in Africa as punishment. But you know, he's actually redeeming himself by leading the group of people through an upside down ship. Just imagine you're walking through an upside down ship. All that even looked like it wasn't even upside down. It just looked like, you know, it was just an ordinary ship, but you know, ice can play tricks on you. So yeah, a group of people, Mr. Rogu and his wife Linda. I gotta admit, I didn't really have any respect for Mr. Rogu, because he doesn't seem to care about anyone but himself. He cares about Linda, but you know, he's just too certain of it. But I also remember that's because he's a cop, like he's a police officer, and you know that he's the tough guy through all this. And then we've got Nonny. I feel sorry for Nonny. Like, she was singing in the band, and then her brother was part of that band. He was killed whenever the ship got turned over, and this man, Mr. Martin, like he decides to stick with her. You know, your music, I dance to all of it. I have full respect for Martin, you know, for taking care of Nonny, you know, when she's lost her brother. And then there's the two kids, Robin and Susie. I will say, you know, I was really rooting for them to survive the whole time. And also Belle, like the old lady Belle, you know, she says, I do hope it's the kids that survive this, but she just manages to give up. She just gives up all hope. Like she, the whole point why her and her husband Manny are on the cruise is because they want to go visit their grandson who's 2 years old. They've never even met him, and they want to give this necklace to him. That's the symbol of life. I forget what it is. And it turns out that Manny is actually played by Jack Albertson. Jack Albertson played Grandpa Joe in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory that was also in the previous year. My god, that was a great movie. But you know, this time his character is a bit more tragic, obviously. Like, you know, he has everything, but, you know, he does lose it in the end. But anyway, we'll get to that in a wee minute. And Akers. Yes, Akers. Akers is actually, he's the, I think he's the caterer, I'm not too sure. Like, he's in charge of the bows of the ship, and he takes everyone to the, you know, to where they need to go, and luckily they need him because he knows the place so well. Akers is actually played by Roddy McDowall. Tell me if it's McDowall or McDowall. Good old Cornelius. It's really, really weird seeing him without all the mask and all the makeup and everything, you know, where he's not playing Cornelius in the Planet of the Apes series. Gotta say, I'm really enjoying that series so far. You know, it's not over yet. But, you know, the thing I want to know is what happens to all the other people. Like, you see them walking through, you know, they're following the doctor, and he's leading them somewhere safe. I don't know if they survive in the end because you don't see them. Because it says at the beginning only a handful. Like, I don't know how, whenever this movie started, I had to work out how much a handful of people actually is. Like, there's the people there. Like, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it was roughly 5 or 6 in the end that survived. But I was sad to see Akers fall through. Like, his leg just couldn't take it anymore, I guess, and he fell. It's all the explosions that didn't really help. You know, boom, someone dies. Boom, someone dies. I'll tell you what, I do think Robin should have been leading them, because he knew the ship so well. Like, he went up to visit the captain, who was played by turns out a very famous man called Leslie Nielsen. I think he was a TV show host or something. But you know, he had a strong bond with the captain, and I felt bad for the parents of these kids. You know, that like they were part of this disaster, and you know they were wondering, you know, hopefully they're going to be okay. But yeah, Robin probably would have been better, you know, leading them on, because he knew the ship so well. He could have got them out quicker than, you know, Reverend Scott probably could. And you know, I have massive respect for Belle. You know, she manages to survive. Whenever I'm underwater, I'm a skinny woman. But then I guess since she hasn't swum in years, like, she's put so much strain on herself, she has a heart attack and she dies. And you know, even Reverend Scott, like, I will say, Reverend Scott does things that priest shouldn't do. Like, he uses profanity, you know, you son of a bitch, and he uses the Lord's name in vain. Like, but I can understand, you know, oh God, not this woman, not this woman. And you know, it was even though it was a disaster, it was a very, very heartbreaking movie. It was very intense, and I did feel sorry for Manny, and I do like to see how Mr. Rogu has so much respect for Belle in the end, you know. Your head got soul, lady. But, you know, like Reverend Scott says to Manny, you know, his purpose is with the living, you know, he keeps the charm for the grandson. And unluckily the explosion, you know. The thing I don't understand is why do the women wear high heels during all this? Like, you're gonna have trouble, you know, walking about in high heels on an upside down ship that is exploding every half hour. Sadly we lose Linda, and that's whenever Mr. Rogu loses it, because he admits the only person he's ever loved is gone, and he starts blaming Reverend Scott for it. But you know, it's not his fault. You know, it's just all the explosions and everything. And Reverend Scott, in the end, he does, like, you know, he does redeem himself, you know, and I do know he was sent away to Africa for unorthodox ways, and you know, he does preach and everything. He's a man of God, but he proves he's a man of God by, well, I'm not saying he's God himself. He even gets accused of thinking he's God himself, but he manages to get them out. You know, one more hatch, and we're home. And you know, he spins the wheel on swing, and he's like, take me. How many more sacrifices? And that's what I'm wondering, how many more sacrifices do they need to take? Like, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 of them. And then, yeah, only 6 survive in the end. You know, Scott sacrificed himself, and I did feel sorry for Susie. Like, she just breaks down and has a big meltdown because, you know, she only felt safe when she was with him. Like, she just wanted to stay with him when he was looking for, you know, when he only had 15 minutes to find a way out, or else they go the other people's way. And even though he showed up only a minute late, like, you know, they managed to pull through, and I did feel sorry for Susie. And, you know, Nonnie felt like she lost all hope because, you know, she couldn't swim, but Mr. Martin kept by her side. He's like, you gotta do this on your own. I'll always be with you. I believe in you. And that's why I have so much respect for Martin. But, you know, they managed to knock on the steel. Luckily, I think a shipping company on the other islands, they've heard about the incident. Well, they've heard about the tragedy, and they've sent a helicopter in, and, you know, they used the torch to get the people out. Luckily, the ship hasn't sunk at this point, and Manny, Rogu, Martin, Nonnie, Susie and Robin all survive. I'm so glad that the kids survive. I'm so glad that Manny manages to get his necklace to his grandson. He gets to meet his grandson for the first time ever, and whenever he's 2 years old. It's a shame he's not going to grow up knowing his Granny Belle, but you know, her sacrifice wasn't in vain, and thank God that, you know, Mr. Roby actually came through, and he wised up. He led them to that final wee bit. Like, he stuck with everyone until the end, and I guess like, the people who survived handled it very well, and I hope that, you know, Nonnie does find someone to look after. Hopefully it's going to be Martin, but, you know, I have full respect for Akers and Belle and Linda and Reverend Scott, especially Reverend Scott and Belle, because you know, they've, like, Belle saved him, and, you know, Reverend Scott sacrificed himself to, you know, save everyone. But that's what you need to do sometimes, you know, situations like that. A cruise would be fun. I say they cost a lot of money, and I'd be away for days. Like, I do know, you know, cruises can go on for months. I don't know how long this cruise can go on. Like, I know this movie is set on New Year's Eve. Well, and then it immediately goes, well, yeah, it's set on New Year's Eve, and, you know, thank God that, like, if they didn't have the Christmas tree, nobody would have gotten out properly. But I think everyone else just perished during that whole ordeal, because you never see them for the rest of the movie. But a handful survived, and thank God it was people, you know, who really fought for it. But yeah, I think I'll give this movie a 9. Like, I really, like, we've not really done a disaster movie on this channel before, but, you know, this is a first. It's fantastic, and, you know, I'm really looking forward to more, you know. But I really enjoyed Gene Hackman. Like, he was brilliant in The French Connection, he was brilliant in this, and I do hope to see more of him. But thank you so much for watching, you guys. I'm going to upload this video now, and I will probably put the next movie up on, well, the next movie reaction up on Monday. I'm just going to work out my schedule, because I have a very busy week this starting from Monday. I have a show on Wednesday night, and, you know, I'll need to get early nights. It's a college thing, so it is. But thank you so much for watching, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, comment what you would like to see next. Subscribe, turn on notifications, share with your friends, and I shall see you guys in the next video. And don't forget, at the end of every video, at the end of every year, I'll always take a few days to just focus on my coursework, and, you know, to have a wee rest, and then get back into the next year. Because, you know, it feels like a year if I take a break, if you know what I mean. Like, it actually feels like I've gone on to the next year if I take a wee rest for a few days, if that makes sense. But thank you so much for watching, guys. The next one's going to be a big one. Might be one you all know. I think it's going to be the one with the first proper ensemble Hollywood cast. But just you guys wait and see what it is. I don't want to spoil anything. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all to death.